Okay, students. So in this class, we'll be discussing about sexual reproduction in flowering plants. So in that topic, today we'll just be covering an outline. So today we'll be discussing certain details about pollination and the types of pollination. Then we'll see what is double fertilization. That is an important topic of this chapter. So as this is a demo, I'll just give you an outline of these two. Detailed classes we'll handle when we go deep into the subject. Fine. So what is pollination? We all know pollination is transfer of pollen grains from anther to stigma. Okay. So this is the basic definition of pollination. Fine. So based on this, we have different kinds of pollination. So majorly, we'll be taking three different kinds of pollination. So one is autogamy. Then you have geitonogamy. And lastly, you have xenogamy. So what is this autogamy? Again, all these three are different kinds of pollination. So in all these three kinds of pollination, there is going to be transfer of pollen grains from anther to stigma. But what we need to know is between what two flowers or what two plants does this transfer take place? In autogamy, now consider this is a plant and it has a flower. So the transfer of pollen grain will be from anther to stigma of the same flower. Then you call it as autogamy. Okay. Now in geitonogamy, consider this is again a plant and it has two different flowers. So now there is transfer of pollen grain from anther to stigma of one flower to another flower of same plant. So in autogamy, you had it within the same flower. In geitonogamy, it is between the same plant. Now in xenogamy, the term xeno itself means strange. So in xenogamy, you will be considering two different flowers or two different plants altogether. So this is one plant and you have another plant. So transfer of pollen grains from anther to stigma of one flower to another flower of two different plants. So here there is involvement of two different plants. So this is what you call it as xenogamy. Okay. So this is the basic. Fine. So autogamy is completely a self-pollination. So it is genetically and physically. It is the self-pollination. But in geitonogamy, genetically it is self-pollination, but physically when you observe, it can be considered as cross-pollination because it is occurring between two different flowers. In xenogamy, it is genetically, physically, in all the ways, ecologically, it is a cross-pollination because it is occurring between two different plants totally. So it is in every way a cross-pollination. Okay. So next, we'll be discussing about agents of pollination. Again, not in detail. So what are the different agents of pollination? Agents of pollination can basically be of two types. They can be either abiotic, or they can be biotic. So abiotic will include wind and water, and biotic will include different forms of animals and insects. Fine. So in abiotic, when it is wind pollination, you call it as anemophily. Water pollination, it is called as hydrophily. We'll be discussing what are the characters of anemophily, hydrophily in later. Okay. In animals, you have different kinds of pollination. So what are the different kinds of pollination in animals? You have entomophily, which is insect pollination. Entomophily is insect pollination. Ornithophily is bird pollination. Chiropterophily or chiropterophily is bat pollination. Then you have special type malacophily, snails and slug pollination. Then you have myrmecophily. Myrmecophily is ant pollination. So these are the different kinds of pollination which can occur. So they are different kinds of pollinating agents. Fine. Then we have adaptations for self-pollination and adaptations for cross-pollination, which we will just discuss. So adaptations for self-pollination, you have cleistogamy. What is cleistogamy? The plant produces closed flowers. When plant produces closed flowers, you call it as cleistogamy, or the flowers are called as cleistogamous flowers. The second condition is bisexuality or monocliny. I'm not getting into details of any of these because as it is just a demo, I have just given you the outlines. Okay. So bisexuality or monocliny is where the flower has both male and female reproductive parts. A single flower will contain both anther as well as stigma. So that is what is called as bisexuality. Third condition is homogamy. So what is this homogamy? The male and female reproductive part which are present within the same flower will mature at the same time. When they tend to mature at the same time, the chances of self-pollination will automatically increase. So that is homogamy. The fourth condition is bud pollination. Cleistogamous flowers are different from bud pollination. Cleistogamy is where the flowers do not bloom up, but in bud pollination, the pollination occurs within the bud itself, then the flowers will open. Okay, so there is a difference. So these are the adaptations of self-pollination. Now we'll take a set of adaptations for cross-pollination. So what can be the adaptations for a cross-pollinating plant? It should be literally opposite to whatever adaptations you have seen in self-pollinating plant. So they can be unisexual. So unisexuality or dicliny. which means the flowers contain either the male part or the female reproductive part. In this unisexuality or dicliny, the plants can be monoecious or they can be dioecious. What is monoecious condition? When the flowers contain, see, unisexuality, we have already mentioned that they contain either male part or female part. In monoecious condition, the male and the female flowers will be on the same plant. Then it is monoecious. When both the male and female plant are different, you have a complete plant containing male flowers and a complete plant containing female flowers, then you call it as dioecious. So they have different plant, then it is dioecious. Okay. Second condition can be dichogamy. What is this dichogamy? It is opposite of homogamy, which means male and female reproductive parts will mature at different time. If the male matures first, you call it as protandry. If female matures first, you call it as protogyny. Fine. So these are of two types. So this is the second condition or second adaptation. Third is prepotency. Prepotency is you have two kinds of pollen. You have self pollen and pollen pollen. Self pollen is the pollen of the same flower or of the same different flower of the same plant. Pollen pollen is totally a flower of different plant. Usually the pollen pollen will develop germ tube or the pollen tube easily than the self pollen. So that condition is called as prepotency. Okay. So next you have a fourth condition, which is hercogamy. So what is this hercogamy? There is a physical barrier between your andrecium and gynoecium. So there is a physical barrier between male and female reproductive parts. That is hercogamy. Fifth is self-incompatibility. Okay, so the plants which has male and female gamete, they have functional male and female gamete, but when self-pollination occurs, it does not allow fusion of those gametes. In many plants, they don't even allow the germ pore to allow the pollen tube germination. So this also happens. So that is self-incompatibility. Fine. I hope it is clear till here. So the self-incompatibility reaction occurs due to chemicals. What are the chemicals? There are chemicals on stigma as well as pollen. So chemicals on stigma and pollen react. So if it is compatible, if it is of right type, the stigma will allow the pollen tube germination. If it is of wrong type, the stigma will not allow pollen tube germination. So these events you call it as pollen pistil interaction. This is called as pollen pistil interaction. Fine. So this is another phenomena that occurs. Now we will move on to the topic of double fertilization. So what is this double fertilization? We all know that pollen tube enters through the micropylar end of the ovule. See, you have an ovule and that ovule contains the embryo sac. Here I am just mentioning the embryo sac structure alone. In the embryo sac, you will be having an egg, two synergids, two polar nuclei, and 3 antipodals. So usually pollen tube enters through the micropylar end. Okay, it will try to enter through the micropylar end and reach the egg. When it reaches the egg, it will release 2 male gametes. So we will consider the pollen tube has released 2 male gametes. So this is one male gamete and this is another male gamete. Fine. So of both the male gametes, one male gamete will fuse with the egg. So male gamete plus egg is one condition, and this you call it as syngamy. Fine. This process you call it as syngamy or true fertilization or generative fertilization. So this will lead to formation of a zygote which is diploid, because male gamete is haploid, egg is also haploid. Similarly, another male gamete fuses with the polar nuclei, the center nuclei, which is the polar nuclei. So there are two polar nuclei. So each polar nuclei is haploid. So when there are two polar nuclei, so it will have 2n condition and this male gamete will be n. So totally they'll form primary endosperm nucleus, which is going to be triploid. And this process you call it as triple fusion. This process is called as triple fusion. So there is triple fusion as well as syngamy occurring. So two male gametes, one fuses with the egg, one fuses with the two polar nuclei. So there is two kind of fusion, two kind of fertilization events occurring within the embryo sac. So this is called as double fertilization. So altogether you call this as double fertilization. So once double fertilization has occurred, this primary endosperm nucleus will be forming your endosperm and your zygote will be forming the further embryo, which will lead to development of the new individual. So I think still here it would have been clear. So we'll stop here. We'll continue the topic in the next class. Thank you, students.